Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. I see some people already joining the webinar. At the moment, microphones and cameras are blocked, but later for the question time, we can open them, hopefully. So I will start with the welcome presentation and the opening. 𝗴𝗲'𝘀, if you can confirm that you see my screen.
Yes.
Perfect. So, welcome everyone to the first webinar of our Horizon 2020 project 𝗵𝗵𝘁'𝘀. Firstly, a couple of words to introduce myself. I'm a senior researcher at 𝗵𝗲𝘀', and I am the coordinator of the project. In general, my research area is in the environmental quality, so what happens inside buildings in terms of health and comfort, and this includes modeling via CFD, field studies, and studies with mannequins and participants. I'm also involved in the International Building Performance Simulation Association as chair of the publication committee, and I'm a part of the I'm an editorial board member of the 𝗵𝗵𝘁'𝘀 journal. Lastly, about me, I'm also involved in 𝗪𝗲'𝘀, so North America, in particular in two technical committees, one about physiology and human environment, and the other one about indoor environmental modeling. This one, as I said, is the first webinar of a series of 3 webinars. Webinar number 1 today is an introduction, and myself and the other colleagues will be presenting the main technical asset we have in 𝗵𝗵𝘁'𝘀 Open Innovation Testbed. Then there will be a second webinar at the end of July, and we will further advertise this, but you can already register, about the possibility of testing envelope products in real buildings, and this is on July 29th. And lastly, at the end of August, there will be a third webinar, which will close this initial series of webinars, about the online platform that we have developed and which is the single entry point of our Open Innovation Testbed. So for today, the agenda is this short welcome and opening by myself. Then there will be a presentation about the testing facilities and the additional technical support we are developing and we can offer to companies. There will be then a presentation about the services that we have for supporting certification, performance analysis in real buildings, and to foster open innovation in the envelope sector, in particular in construction sector and in the envelope sector in particular. Then there will be a snapshot about the use of real buildings as real-world testing opportunities. As I said, there will be a longer webinar fully dedicated to this point. So today there is just a short introduction to the topic. And then we will have plenty of time for questions. You should be able to post questions in the chat, and then we will go through them later. So I think before we enter in the core of the presentations, is worth clarifying or introducing 2 concepts that maybe for some of you are not completely clear, or maybe they are completely new. The first one is what we mean by open innovation in comparison with closed innovation. So closed innovation essentially is the traditional way of innovating in companies. It's very well represented by the first sentence: smart people all work for us, which means in a closed innovation model, you tend the priority is having the best people within your company to develop the best technological solutions before others do the same. And this is where I would say many companies in the construction sector could follow. Then we can move to open innovation. And the main difference is that here the focus is not to have all the smartest technical people within the company. You still need to have good people, but to make the right connections so that you are able to bring inside or bring outside what you think is valuable in a way that makes sense and profit for you. And one of the key things here is the word connections and the importance of being able to master intellectual property right. So it's all about being placed well in the right networks, having the right support in the different phases of product development and exploitation. And why this is important? Because 𝗵𝗀 is a type of project called Open Innovation Testbed. It's a wording that was conceived by the European Commission, in particular by one of the agencies. And essentially, the idea was to create, with these projects, networks that enable to have, in particular for small, medium enterprises, access to physical facilities and services to support the development of a certain type of product. In our case, 𝗵𝗀 Open Innovation Testbed, the product is highly performance envelopes that enable to achieve the 𝗀, or we can even remove the N probably now, target, so zero energy buildings target. And why we thought, we and also the commission that funded this project thought it was relevant, because as probably most of you know, the innovation in the construction sector is traditionally slow, and there is plenty of good ideas, so left-hand side of the picture, that follows in what we call the valley of death, instead of reaching the market. The idea of 𝗵𝗀 is building the bridge that will enable these products, this idea to develop and then become products fully exploited, available on the market, which is a benefit for everyone, both for the companies that sell them and for the society that can take benefit from having them. And indeed, the main aim of the project is to create this EU distributed open innovation testbed focused on innovative building envelopes. And this is important to support the fact that prototypes can go faster and better from an initial idea to a fully exploited product available on the market. Very quickly, I think it's worth just recapping also the concept of technology readiness level that in the European Commission jargon essentially is a scale from 1 to 9 to say how far is a certain technology from the market, where 1 is a basic principle and 9 you are on the market. What we do with 𝗵𝗀 is try to cover the majority of the different levels. With our labs that you will see in the second presentation, we can support essentially from technology readiness level 2. So when you have a concept and some very initial applications formulated, up to what is called a relevant environment for testing, typically a semi-controlled lab. Then we can move to real buildings, still part of the 𝗵𝗀 stack, I would say. And here is what they call operational environment. So essentially, you test your technology in a real working condition. Aside of that, we have 3 services that are complementary, and we will see later in more details what they offer each of them. But altogether, this enables to give quite a good sound support to the development of envelope products. Last slide is about the single entry point. So everything we are developing, we developed and we are doing in this project will then be available, accessible via a single entry point via this platform, www.𝗵𝗀-platform.eu, which you can access directly. It's already live. There are here and there small parts that are still under fine-tuning, I would say. And for this, there will be a webinar, as I said, at the very end of August, fully dedicated to this platform, how to use it, where to find what, and how to take the most of it. So with this short introduction, I will stop this presentation. Thank you for having joined the webinar. I remember that this webinar is recorded, so recordings will be available later on, and I will pass the word to Olaya for the presentation of the experimental facilities.
Thank you, Francesco. Good afternoon to all. So I will share my screen. Do you see my screen? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So good afternoon to all. My name is 𝗪𝗲. I work in Tecnalia, which is a private non-profit applied research institute in Spain, and particularly I work in the fire safety laboratory. in 𝗪𝗏 project, I have been coordinating the setting up of the different testing facilities and the coordination between all the research partners, to offer in the future marketplace different testing procedures and activities. So I will follow this index in these presentations. I will talk about why we developed, well, we have a concept that we defined, pilot measurement and verification lines, why we set up these different testing facilities all across Europe. Then I will give a general overview of where we think that these testing facilities make sense in the reaching to the market of these innovative products. And I will give you a definition of which different testing facilities we have implemented and which requirements each of us is dealing with and so on. So why we set up these pilot measurement and verification lines? At the sorry, at the beginning of 𝗪𝗏 project, we analyzed this path from the idea moment of an innovative product to the market, to the reaching to the market. We analyzed which were the needs that had the manufacturers, mainly the small and medium enterprises, to reach the market. So we did different surveys, questionnaires, and roundtables with the partners that we had within the project, but also with external manufacturers or companies to know which were the main barriers that they had when they want to put into the market these innovative ideas. And once we had this overall idea, we defined which needs we wanted to cover with among all testing facilities or pilot measurement and verification lines. So we decided that our manufacturers needed some assessment or help in the identification of the requirements that these innovative products have, defining which are the testing methods that apply to these products to assess different performance or characteristics, offering testing facilities, performing these tests, and finally increasing the reliability of these products in the market. We believe that manufacturers, when they have innovative ideas and innovative products, that mainly maybe the standards are not or may not be adapted to these innovative products. So as well as the standard tests, we also worked on beyond the state-of-the-art standards to assess these innovative products more correctly, because we believe that sometimes almost always the industry goes faster, or the developments go faster than the standards procedures. Then we also analyzed the language barrier, and we are aware that manufacturers and small and medium enterprises may be very focused on a country, and we are aware that we have to deal also with this language barrier, and we are working also on that to offer different services in local languages. So the general overview, Francesco already told about this. Once the manufacturer or a company has an idea and they start defining the prototype, then the idea is that we offer them different testing facilities, but also modeling options to assess these products or systems. So in the different testing facilities or laboratories across Europe. We offer both fully controlled experimental conditions and as well as semi-controlled environmental conditions. And then Ursula will talk us about the living labs, where the main idea is to offer them different measurements and simulation tools to characterize their product and check the correct performance of the products, and so that then they can go to the market or start the certification process or so on. So yeah, this way we believe that we will boost or we will help in the achieving the 𝗴𝗲 and high indoor environmental quality building performance targets. So as Francesco said, all testing facilities, we are focused on building envelope products and systems. So once we analyze the needs that manufacturers or the industry may have, we set up the different laboratories or testing facilities, and we are each of us focused on a specific envelope performance, such as building user interactions or in a technology, which could be a BIPV, building integrated photovoltaic, or a wooden envelope product, or so on. So we defined different envelope product categories, different technical requirements that each of us may assess, and the testing categories that each of us can offer. And once we defined all these categories, yeah, the idea is that in the single entry point that we will present at the end of August, we can implement this single entry point, and so that any company that can arrive to the marketplace can reach or know which testing activities offer each laboratory. So as I said, not each of us is focused in all the testing, all the requirements, but the idea is that among all pilot measurement and verification lines, and boosting collaboration also between us, we can achieve, or we can offer all type of testing activities related to envelope systems. So some of us may be focused on safety or efficiency requirements, and others more focused in building user interaction or health. So these are the 9 testing facilities that we developed, which I will define or show you later on. So as I previously said, we have defined 9 testing facilities. Each of them, or pilot measurement and verification lines, each of them is managed by 1 different laboratories, except for LEITAT, that is responsible for 2 pilot lines, but are focused on different envelope product. And we also analyzed the interconnections between different pilot lines, because yeah, we believe that some of us may be focused in a component or at a product scale, and then the product could be also assessed in a system scale, or could be also analyzed from the point of view of the system, but in the interconnection with building, with the users of the building. So as I previously said, we have defined a decision tree, which will be implemented in the single entry point, and yeah, we have also mapped all the facilities that each laboratory has in our, each laboratory has, and all the new laboratories that we have set up. So these are the 9 laboratories that are participating in 𝗪𝗏 project. 𝗪𝗏 and 𝗪𝗏 based in Spain, 𝗪𝗏 and 𝗪𝗵𝘁'𝘀 and 𝗪𝗵𝘁'𝘀 in Italy, 𝗪𝗏 in Slovenia, 𝗪𝗏 in Austria, DTU in Denmark, and Krakow University in Poland. So we work in a wide range of countries across Europe. I don't know the timing, Francisco. Do I have some minutes? Yeah, okay. So now I will show you, I will go through all the 9 pilot measurement and verification lines, and to show you briefly which different testing facilities that we offer, or as well as the simulations that we offer. So regarding pilot measurement and verification line, which is managed by Tecnalia, we are focused on BIPV, building integrated photovoltaics, also solar thermal and hybrid photovoltaic thermal systems. And we offer different testing activities from the point of view of safety and efficiency. So we have fire tests. We offer fire tests. We have set up a great scale calorimetric hood capable of measuring fire tests up to 3 megawatt total heat release rate. Then we offer also optical tests, not only at 90 degrees incidence of the irradiance, but in the whole range of angles. We do extended distress electrical tests, and we have also this facility called Cubic, where we analyze the behavior of solar thermal systems in realistic conditions, as well as the easiness of the implementation of these building envelope systems. Then pilot measurement and verification line 2, which is managed by 𝗪𝗏 in Italy. They offer this fully controlled and semi-controlled environment experimental conditions, and also they assess in the living labs section, and they have different testing facilities like multifunctional facade lab or facade system interactions lab, and they have a VOC chamber for the measurement of volatile organic compounds, and thermal mannequin to assess the interaction between the building envelope and users. We also have pilot line 3, which is led by 𝗪𝗏. They are focused in BIPV also, as well as Tecnalia, but in this case they are focused in a smaller scale at product level, and they do different measurements regarding efficiency requirements. And they also have this the other pilot line 4, where they are focused on dynamic glass systems, and they offer different measurements and simulations for these products that you can see here. Then we have DTU, responsible for the fifth laboratory. They are focused on the building users' interactions, and they analyze these building envelope systems through thermal, acoustic, visual, or air quality components. They have different chambers, and they do post-occupancy evaluations to check this interaction. Then we have pilot line 6, which is led by Politecnico di Milano and Università di Brescia, where they offer different testing facilities, which are divided into two. From the one side, they have a materials and structures laboratory, and they also offer the building facade performance lab, and they can offer a wide range of testing options regarding mainly in safety requirements. So they have, they offer different mechanical tests or impact tests, and they also offer, they do thermal evaluation or thermal acoustics air quality tests. Then regarding the next laboratory, which is managed by the Krakow University of Technology in Poland, they are focused in connectors of the building envelope products, and they can assess mechanical tests, vibroacoustic tests, or thermal tests and durability tests to check the performance of these connectors. Then the pilot line 8, which is led by University of Innsbruck. They are also focused on this in semi-transparent envelope components, and they offer passive test cell, in-situ G-value device, and goniophotometer to measure thermal, comfort, visual, and energy parameters. And they also offer simulations tools to characterize these semi-transparent envelope products. Last but not least, we have SAG in Slovenia, where they are they characterize wooden prefabricated components through different testing activities facing safety requirements. So they offer fire tests, not just standard tests, but also innovative ones, thanks to the great scale calorimeter that they have that can measure up to 10 megawatts. They also offer thermal performance tests and acoustic tests. And so this would be a general overview of all the different testing facilities that we have implemented in 𝗵𝗵'𝘁'𝘀. So thank you all.
Thank you, Elia, for the comprehensive presentation about the labs. We move now to the complementary part of the offer. So you should see my screen at the moment. Can you confirm, Elia or Ursha, that you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So this shorter presentation is about open innovation services, and in particular, going back to my initial slide, where we are focusing now is the right-hand side, so these three services. And what do we mean by open innovation service? Essentially, they are services that are complementary to the pilot measurement and verification line presented by Olaya, in a sense that while the pilot lines, so the laboratories, are highly relevant for companies to know how certain products behave technically, so either in regard of one aspect, the technological aspect, or a certain typology of technology in different aspects, but the focus is on the technology and a specific purpose. Open innovation services tend to cover topics that are a bit larger, they are less technology dependent and more transversal. And in particular, Open Innovation Service 1 focus on certification and mapping of such innovative products. Open Innovation Service 2 is focused on measurement and verification in real buildings, so understanding how a certain technology installed in real working conditions behave. And Open Innovation Service 3 is a general support at the management of open innovation, which, as we saw at the very beginning, is a critical thing, especially in construction industry, which is an industry typically a bit slow in taking innovation. So going in more details, Operation Service 1 is supposed to create to support the certification and marking of products coming from industry and in general to create a framework to support the certification and marking of innovative building envelope products. And why we thought this was needed? Because the analysis methods that are used typically might not fit very well or might not capture in full the performances of very innovative products. You might face problems such as the fact that the technology is too new to be tested with the standard method as it is, or you may need an extra step, or there can be the case in which you need some data to compare and to validate your solutions, your technologies before they go to market. And being so innovative for one or more parts of your technology, there is no such a data set available. The way in which it works is that this service is coordinated by one of our partners, 𝗴𝗲, so based in Slovenia, the last pilot run you saw from 𝗴𝗲. However, the service is a composition. It comprises different sub-services that can be offered independently. And these sub-services can be offered by one or more of the partners of the project, which means in practical terms, you might be able to access one service in one country, but also the same service in a different language in a different country, depending on your preferences where you are. And OES1 comprises in particular 7 sub-services, where the first one is support in identifying the best methods to characterize a product. Here we always talk about innovative envelope products in the entire 𝗵𝗁'𝘀'. Then there is a support in the definition of the framework for designing a new product. There is a support for the definition of which are the tests that are necessary, required for certification. And also there is a service that is focused on CE marking and the path to achieve CE marking. Then there is one sub-service about background data for verification of the test results. One is about the economic rationale, and this includes also a life cycle analysis and life cycle costing analysis. And then a support to the digitalization of construction products. As I said, these services are offered by one or more partners, and in the platform you find all the details about who can offer what, and we can go back later in case. Open Innovation Service 2 instead is about measurement and verification. Here you see a word living labs. Essentially, we mean real buildings here. And what this service does is providing a protocol to perform measurement and verification analysis in real buildings. So understanding how these technologies from the perspective of the element per se, the impact that this envelope has on the indoor conditions and the impact on energy consumption as in real working conditions. Why we thought this was relevant? Because it's highly needed from company to know how these products behave in reality, not just in standard lab conditions. Because also there are different customers with different requirements. If you are a manufacturer, a building owner, a real estate company, or a simple building user, you might be interested in different performances. And complementary to that, at the moment, the market is rather fragmented in terms of who offers sensors, who can perform surveys, sensors for what. So the idea was to create a comprehensive service that can enable different users to find what they need. In this case, the service is led by us, by 𝗲𝗲 Research. It comprises a different set of measurement devices and standard questionnaires. However, the word standard doesn't mean it's exactly always the same, the protocol. It means on a larger pool of possibilities that are standardized, we can tailor the specific protocol to the specific case, which depends on the building and the technology to be evaluated. And for the part that involves also questionnaires to human participants and in general, any data that is connected to GDPR, the full OES2 is fully compliant with GDPR. So how it works, essentially there are some users, which as I said, can be the users of the building, can be companies, partners, basically means industrial companies. can be manufacturers, can be contractors, can be real estate companies, which are interested in knowing what the performances of the envelope per se. So for instance, what happens inside the membrane, what happened to a joint or whatever. They may want to know what happens inside the building as a result of having installed a certain envelope solution. So environmental quality, thermal comfort, air quality, lighting, visual, I would say, and acoustic. And the impact on the energy consumption that this new envelope may have. And technically, how it works is that we typically define certain parameters of interest, which are monitored via certain sensors, which can be chosen according to the needs of the different situations. Data are then stored via dedicated protocols on a server, which is managed by URAC. We may collect the user feedback via questionnaires, and all this presented in a dashboard with certain visualizations, and it's possible to do elaborations depending on the scope of the specific application. But the overall point is having a comprehensive assessment tailored to the user that requires it. And it's possible to differentiate two phases, so what happens before we enter in the building and what happens afterwards, after the monitoring system is installed, and the perspective of the occupant and the building and the product. So before entering, we need to know, or we have to focus on the type of occupants that we have inside the building and to collect information about the building and the requirements of the technology provider, of the technology. After we enter, we perform some surveys, which can be right here, right now, or can be also questions that are repeated periodically, but are not the type right here, right now. And then there is the monitoring part. And all together, this enables to give a good picture of how a certain technology works in completely realistic conditions. Obviously, the main limitation, and you will see that in the presentation later about real buildings, is that as opposed to a lab, here we need to compromise a bit in what we can measure without destroying the building and without creating too much burden to the occupants. In principle, we have to be as little invasive as possible. So service number 3 instead, so we had certification and marking, we had the evaluation of performances in real buildings. The third one and last one is about guidance for open innovation in the life cycle. And in particular, the service is a set of digital services based on 3 pillars: supporting innovation and product development, supporting growth and market penetration, and collaboration. As you can see here, no specific technology is mentioned because it could be applied to any of the building envelope components and technologies. The idea, in very short, is boost open innovation, enable companies to make the best of what they have, or supporting them in looking for what they need and they don't have in-house. And why? Because there is a clear need to support and accelerate innovation in a sector which is traditionally a bit slower than others. And how it works, similar organization to IS1. So we have a coordinator, in this case, it's in-𝗴𝗲, a Spanish partner, and then a set of sub-services that are independent, which means you can choose to use one or more of those, and each can be offered by one or more of the partners. And I mean, all the details of who can offer what is available on the platform. And in this case, the services are 8. We have an expert mentorship in accessing other markets, so potential company that wants to explore different landscapes. Connecting with experts, maybe from other sectors, a matchmaking service focused on product development, and another one focused on commercialization, which to some extent are the two sides of open innovation, which can happen while you are developing a product or while you want to fully exploit something that you have maybe in different sectors. There is then a technology road mapping to enable to identify, again, collaboration and opportunities, and market replication assessment support, a support in organizing open innovation events, which are particular events that are very helpful in promoting and exploiting open innovation for a company, or if you are a small company, maybe in beneficiating from what other bigger companies are offering and the opportunities they offer. And lastly, an envelope package configurator. So altogether, essentially, the idea is that these free services, and with this I'm closing, can support in three critical areas when you deal with innovative products, which are how to certify and mark them, because otherwise you cannot sell them on the market. Secondly, how they behave in real life. We can do as many tests as we want in a lab, but most companies know that having evidence from the real world is really important. And point number three is making the best of open innovation in a sector that, for multiple reasons, in many parts of Europe is a bit stagnant in terms of innovating. With this, I close this presentation, and I give the word to Ursha for the fourth and last short presentation about Living Labs. I'm gonna stop sharing unless Ursha already took control. And after that, I remember, for while you are sharing the screen, Ursha, we will have some time for questions. At that point, I will remove the block for webcam and microphones. And for those that joined later, I remember that this is going to be recorded, so recordings will be available later on. So please, Ursha.
Thank you, Francesco. So yeah, my name is Ursha, and I come from Slovenia National Building and Civil Engineering Institute, shortly ZAG. And today I will present to you what was already spoken about, so testing of products in real buildings. Okay, so what are we interested in? So here we want to test the innovative products that have not reached the market yet, how they perform in real buildings. Here we are focusing on two things that then we want to combine them. So first thing is monitoring in the buildings. So we want to do monitoring before the renovation is done. And then after the renovation, we also want to collect some meaningful results from the monitoring. You can see here in one picture, it's a small white device on the table. This is a monitoring unit used in an office before it was renovated. And here, this is the same building. Later on, there was an extension built, and you can see two stages where they were building additional places and offices and then closing them before we reinstall the monitoring system. And then the second one that was also mentioned before is receiving feedback from installation company, because sometimes when you have innovative products, it's a bit tricky how to install them. So this is also valuable feedback from the building owners, the ones that then are using your product, and then the occupants of the buildings, because it's not just the personal buildings, but also we have other buildings here in this set. So we also want to have their feedback, and then combining all of this measured data with the subjective feedback from the users is really something that helps industrial partners improve or see and also provide some statements that their product work on the market. Within the project mě0E, there are also several industrial partners that are producing innovative building envelope products. So in particular 9 of them. They have 16 different products. You can see them on the right side of your screen. And they all have been tested within the PMVLs that Olaya mentioned before. So they were already tested in laboratory, and now we are in the phase of testing these products in real buildings. This means that the products are already reaching TRL of 7 to 8. And then how did we do this? So how to pose buildings as living labs. So here it will be just short recap how this was done within a project. So first we opened a call for buildings that were in a renovation stage. You can see here a map of the different buildings that applied, and then the industrial partners have looked into these applications to see if the buildings are suitable for them. And then after the match was made, the confirmation with the Living Lab management team, because Living Labs are managed by a team of research partners that have an overview of the activities. And when this was confirmed, the monitoring design that was also presented today by OI Open Innovation Service 2 was done for each of the living lab, then first to measure before the renovation and then after the renovation, to have more feeling what's going on in each of the buildings, because the building owners are not part of the project. We have also allocated local and general living lab manager that were overseeing each of the living lab and then reporting to others that we know where we are. Then ongoing monitoring was performed in each of the buildings. Products were then installed. We have monthly follow-ups with the building owners to see how this is proceeding, if they have any challenges, if we can assist them or somehow. And then the questionnaires, that is the second part, were posed to the building occupants to see their subjective inputs, how they're feeling about the renovation, about the environment they're working in, living in, and then this all is combined within a big data analysis that is done for each of the building that is here acting as a living lab. And then here, just going briefly to the living labs, we have 13 living labs. Here you can see pictures of 12 of them. One I still don't have because it's fairly new. So we have different buildings coming from private houses, architectural studio, office buildings, industrial buildings, modular house, research laboratory, and a pavilion. We have tested with this approach 18 products. So some of them are doubling because also location is important. And the industrial partner wanted to do maybe 2 or 3 living labs just to also get more information. And this is happening in 5 different countries. So Italy, Spain, Slovenia, Poland, and Cyprus. This would be shortly from my side, because the next webinar, the second one in July 29th, will be extensively dedicated to this envelope products testing in real buildings, where we will go even into more detail about this first application for the living labs, and then also on the monitoring side, because I think it's really interesting also from research point of view, as well as if you're an industrial partner, to see which data can be gathered from this approach. So I would thank you for listening.
Thank you, Ursha, and also Olaya, of course, for the previous presentation. This is the end of the 4 presentations. So at the moment, I will unlock the cameras and microphones of everyone. So if anyone has any question, feel free to switch on the microphone as soon as I have done it, and also the camera if you wish. Just 1 second. Now you should be able to control your microphone and also your camera for everyone. I saw that there were 2 questions, so I just replied quickly to those 2. The first one was if recordings will be made available. Short answer is yes. You will get notifications after the meeting. And that's it. Thank you. Thank you again. While the other question, I guess also you, Ursha and I can see the chat, is how we steer innovation with idea products through the process to market presentation, assuming we have no idea of bureaucracy and test needed. To some extent, I would say that's exactly the scope of OES1, is supporting somebody that doesn't know how to proceed very well in terms of what should I do, where should I go. It's difficult to give a straight answer that works for everyone now without knowing the product, the country, and everything. But I would say we have, as you saw from the presentation of Olaya, different research partners with different expertise in terms of type of products, but also country in which they are located, which means different partners know one aspect or the other of the regulation, one aspect of another of the technology. And the umbrella for ES1 can ease the process of understanding which are the key steps then to answer more in details, probably we need an offline conversation about the specific product in case. I don't know, Ursula, if you want to add something, or Olaya.
No, I would say as you did. So we just need to know what's the product, and then we search through the standards and regulation and everything, country-based or European-based, and then provide them what they need. If they just are still in the first stages of idea, if their idea is okay, then we can do some tests. Also within the project, we have different testing lines that then we can address or send them to those specific testing lines, and they have all in one place. So they don't have to go different places, but fairly everything can be covered within this platform. So yeah.
Yeah, maybe I would add also, I introduced the concept of technology readiness level because it's the one used by the European Commission, and it helps in navigating between the technical asset of the project. But in short, the entry point depends on where a certain development is, at which stage you are. So obviously, the farther away somebody is from the market, the more maybe you are likely to need support from somebody that knows that type of technology. The more you start being closer to something that can go on the market, the more you fine-tune the details required to get the certification and the marking. And that's probably one of the first things we tend to assess. Any further question from anyone? If not, I would say we can stop the webinar now, saying thank you for those that joined the webinar. And as I said, recordings will be available, and next webinar is late July, all about living labs and real buildings used for testing. So thank you, everyone, and see you in the next webinar.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.